Chase is there too, though. You can tell me that's not heaven? That's not paradise? Mr. Brandstone.
Okay, well, Shota's over here, so... Welcome back to Seeker and Confessor, a Sword of Truth podcast. My name's Lauren.
And I'm Frank.
And today we are going to be talking about chapter 35 of Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind.
Nice. How'd you feel about
You just diving right in.
That's what we're doing, yeah. The people don't want to wait around.
Well, I have fan mail.
Dear listener, I apologize.
Yeah, you should.
I am so sorry.
I don't know what your problem is.
I forgot who we were for a moment.
Exactly. We have fan mail, and it's from our favorite guy, John, the cow farmer from New Zealand. If you guys remember from
Milk King.
Yeah. True. So here we go. John said, "Hi team, thanks for the shout out. I played it for my wife and kids. They thought it was hilarious."
Shout out to the wife and kids.
Yeah, seriously. Lord of the Rings. No, I wasn't involved, but a bunch of my friends were. And yes, it is quite picturesque in New Zealand at times.
A dream.
Definitely. You should definitely come down for a visit. You won't even need to sleep in the barn. Ha ha. Wow, thank you.
Wow.
I listened to the last Cumtastic episode. Nice puns.
It was filled.
I really have forgotten most of the book, so it's quite enjoyable. Cheers, John.
John.
Okay, John, you're winning because, number one, family man.
Absolutely.
Wholesome family man.
Yep.
Number two, has friends who are in Lord of the Rings. Number three, just still the fact that he is a cow farmer. Number four,
cow master. That's what they
is
call
actually offering for us to stay with him for real, and we don't have to sleep in the barn.
In his home.
And number five, likes cum puns. He is so well-rounded.
Wow.
He's so well-rounded and multifaceted.
Yeah. John is top of my list, I think.
John is our king right now.
All hail, Lord John. I'm going to cross out Rawl and put John. Honestly.
Thank you so much for the follow-up message. We loved that. And we John, anytime you want to say literally anything, send it in. Also, I want to say I'm a little biased towards John for saying that he does not remember anything from the series either, because I frequently feel like a fool when I consider that I'm not lying. I did in fact read all of these books at an earlier point in my life.
Yeah.
I'm just not a person.
You got to do what I do, which is put your chest out and just with full confidence make things up and believe them. And then when evidence is presented that you're wrong, I don't care.
Right. Yeah, I don't retain things detailed in a normal manner.
You've read a lot of books.
Yeah.
And the details of Goodkind are lost in the shuffle.
My brain at some point deemed them unimportant.
Unworthy.
And they fell out. That's all that I can say. And listen, John's our king, and his brain also deemed them unworthy. So I'm in good company.
He threw him in the slop pit.
Thank you.
The cow poop.
What? So now, yes.
Now I can go.
Yeah.
Chapter 35.
You're supposed to ask the question.
Did you like it?
I didn't dislike it. I wasn't actively very upset by it.
Okay.
It wasn't enthralling
No.
by any means. I'm happy that we have storylines meeting up and interweaving. I do always like that.
Yeah.
So I was excited that was happening.
Is this our first running into someone that mattered?
I think.
Right? Maybe.
Like, it's the first time I feel like we're seeing, like, we've gotten multiple point of views and then actually had
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, because, like, when Dark and Rawl showed up to the Mud People, I mean, I guess Dark and Rawl and Sidon was a crossover of sorts.
We didn't get any Sidon perspective chapters, though. No. No, this is our first named and lived in PCs or whatever you'd call them. They're not PCs. They're characters, dear listener.
They're not.
I'm going to stop saying that and referring to everything in D&D terms.
Here's my big takeaway
Okay.
from this chapter.
Give it to me.
Well, okay, I'll say chapter 35 it's set into two different sections. We have Richard and Kahlan going to a town.
Yeah.
Things happen there. And then we have a Rachel...
Things certainly do
Then
happen
we have
there.
a Rachel point of view... Stop. Then we have a Rachel point of view chapter in which Richard and Kahlan join Rachel and they've met up. Okay, that's the whole chapter.
That part's fun because we've never seen them both from someone else's perspective.
That's true.
It's kind of like...
It's an extremely, biased point of view, though, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yes.
From this 6 to 13-year-old girl. Yeah.
They're picking her up. Richard handed her to Kahlan.
That's true.
So, I don't know.
This kid is indeterminate size, indeterminate age.
She's little. Anyway.
Something, yeah.
What the fuck was I saying?
That you love Giller.
Right, now I remember.
Yeah, I'm glad you do.
So,
Yeah.
I was saying that my main takeaway from the chapter is that Terry was really trying to do parallels. Does that, are you yes, or you're I don't really know what you're talking about?
I don't really know what you're talking about.
Wow, okay. So I'm excited
I'll probably
to
agree
discuss.
when you unveil this
I'm just
theorem.
excited to discuss.
Yeah.
He was doing parallels.
I don't know when the man's not doing parallels, but I want to see it. I want to see what you got.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just it was a little boring. How'd you
Yeah, it was
feel?
definitely boring. Especially off of the thrilling because of how much information we just got about Confessors.
He needed us to
And
let our brains rest.
I
and
feel
digest.
like once again at that reader's pace, how we'd be rolling into this one, it would maybe feel nice to be a little bit more sprawly and
I think it'd be fun. Yeah, honestly, in a reading, it is what it is. When I say it's not the most exciting chapter, when you're reading it normally, that's totally fine, right?
yeah, we're hitting the downward slope here though. We know we're approaching quickly the winter's beginning. Winter's beginning. The edge of winter. Ooh, my first book on Amazon.
That's not something.
The Edge of Winter? It probably is. I don't know.
Yeah, do you have anything else broadly you'd like to say before we begin?
Not broadly. Laser focused, yes. Precise,
all right.
knife edged.
Well,
right.
I guess we'll get into it and then you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're picking back up right where we left off with Richard and Kahlan after the Mother Confessor dump of the lifetime. And they put out what?
The biggest dump she's ever taken.
It's the biggest Mother Confessor dump you'll ever see.
Oh my god.
And they put out the campfire. They take off, okay? Right? They're back together, these two.
Yeah.
Richard's still feeling a little off-put by the whole thing.
Yeah.
Really, he's
crushed,
digesting
you know?
this information and not handling it the best, but he's committed to save the world.
He is. And I thought this was sweet because his inner monologue, he's very sad. He's thinking about Zed tried to warn me. I didn't listen to anyone. I was an idiot. Mm-hmm. She's so important and powerful. I could never, and all this stuff. But then he's just staring at her and he's like, no one's this woman's friend.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one who's ever been her friend that's not in her family.
Yeah.
And he's like, it hurts so much to think about doing this because I want so much more.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna stop being her friend. I'm committing to just helping this woman in that way at least.
Right, he's just gotta be her friend.
Gotta be her friend. Without benefits. Crazy.
No benefits.
He zoned himself.
It was the Confussy that zoned it for him.
Confussy. Almost. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Richard he's dwelling on how Kahlan snared that rabbit. He's really hung up on it. He brought it up.
Can you give me something? What are your thoughts on the rabbit snare?
He brought it up multiple times last chapter. He's bringing it up again this chapter. That he taught her how to snare a rabbit, and he literally starts blushing because he's like, this woman, the queen's bow to her, and I taught her how to catch a rabbit. That's so crazy.
Isn't that a weird way to think?
I don't know. Maybe I would think of it like that.
If I went to the UN and there was like some diplomat's son who's like a trillionaire and like he talks to kings, and I was like, hey, let me show you this yo-yo trick, and he's like, oh, I picked up walking the dog, would I be like, I taught this man who has everything
you would
something incredible? It's like, no, I don't know. He just never wanted to learn yo-yo, and then he did.
You'd feel proud. And then add on top of it that he's in love with you.
Well, that's more important, I guess.
Well,
right?
that's a big part of the dynamic.
What's his name?
Julian. And he's got blue eyes. And
what country is he from?
Sweden.
I was going to say Sweden.
No, you were not.
No, I was going to say like Prince Urek or something like that. So Julian from Sweden, blue eyes, and what? How does Daddy make his money?
Oil.
What fuck? All right, now he's problematic.
I mean, Kahlan is too.
Damn, you're right.
It's so true. Yeah, and so is she.
Okay, all right.
Now you can imagine what he's going through.
She's so sad. He looks so lonely. No one wants to be his friend with his oil barren dad.
And he just wants to yo-yo. Richard says to Kahlan, it must have been really hard to tell me all of that information.
Yeah.
He says it must have been hard to take that huge dump. How did it even work? And she says, it would have been easier to kill myself.
Unalive myself.
That's really intense.
It's very intense. But what we talked about last time, that makes sense for Kahlan.
It does. She has some reasons, I suppose, to be inclined towards that solution. Richard wonders if he would have stayed with Kahlan had she told him this information sooner. And he thinks to himself that, like, maybe she was actually right to not tell him, because there is a chance if he had heard all of this earlier, he would have left. And I kind of liked that piece of self-reflection.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty interesting.
It's interesting. It shows that Richard is very truthful with his own...
Yeah.
Like, knowing of himself and his internal, like he's aware of how he would react to these things.
Yeah. His motivators are important, and he understands them. And
even if it's, like that seems like something somebody would want to, like, resist. That's the sort of thing you would think about yourself and go, like, I wouldn't have done that to her. But it's like, I would have.
You're right. It's like, because he likes her now.
Yes.
He would pretend that he would never do anything
that.
bad to her, or abandon her, or do anything like that. But he's like, no, I might have.
Right.
If I knew I couldn't get close, and therefore I never got close, I might have not done all this.
Yeah, I thought that was, like, a unique point of view.
If Richard didn't love Kahlan the way that he loves her now, throughout this whole thing, he'd probably be dead 6 times over. Because, like, I feel like the anger of the sword and everything, like, helping him, because he loved her so much, like, kept him alive, like, 4 times already. True. And we haven't even dealt with too much.
Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten angry enough. He wouldn't have...
Would he have fought all night in the rift?
Probably not.
Would he have ran back through the boundary to kill that guy? Would he have...
No, he needed the power of romantic love.
Look at that.
Because it's not just love, because, like, he loves Zed, he loves Chase, he loves...
Zed loves fried chicken, like...
Yeah, but it's like he needed romantic love to fuel him
forward. Did. I agree.
They keep walking. They come to, like, a little path, the juncture. There's, like, a stone with carvings. Richard can't read it. Kahlan's like, oh, it's just telling you.
Why do we spend so much time on
I don't know.
this?
It was like
it was like trying to explain the concept of, like, a kiosk directional thing in the mall to, like, an alien. But it's like, I assume they have these in the Westlands, right?
Yeah.
So, it's a stone, and it points in directions and lets you know where the nearest town. It's like he lives in the woods. There's got to be signposts, right?
He should have been like, "What's that?" She'd be like, "Is this signpost? Oh, it's giving us directions." That would have been sufficient. I think you would have gotten it.
No, we got like a whole mini paragraph.
Oh, it also shows you how many miles to the next town. It lists this and this,
as and all signposts do. They're all like County Joe's Slopperia, 6 miles. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
What is my brain? County Joe's Slopperia? What are they serving there? Sloppy Joe's.
Sloppy Joe's, obviously.
We'll make it a shirt.
So Richard's like, hey, maybe we should get some horses to save time.
Yeah.
Kahlan's like, okay, well, there's a lumber town an hour or two away. They'll probably have horses, but it might be dangerous because their loyalties lie with Tahara. Interesting.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I mean, but kind of interesting. I was like, oh, okay, so it's like that where, like, the people are in, or at least Kahlan's in the know of, like, who's...
All the dots on the map, like, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's, like, vaguely intriguing.
Yeah.
And she's like, Richard, do not take out your Westlands gold, because if they see your gold, they're going to be really scared, because they're scared of people from across the boundary. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And
Does it make sense, though? Or does it
Without...
really make sense with what's gonna happen?
I know. Well, it
Once
really
again
reinforces what's about to go down. But I suppose it could be that could have been true pre all this war nonsense, right? You could just be like, scary. I don't know what's going on over there, right?
Sure, that's true.
So I let it slide because it wasn't like I wasn't like it would make no sense without what's coming, right?
Yeah, but it does feel like this book weirdly is good at what we're doing in a podcast by taking each chapter, because Terry puts everything you need in each chapter.
Yeah.
This wasn't like in chapter 6 where she was like, when we go over the boundary.
Right.
Never show your goal.
No, you're right. This could have been maybe interesting and effective if you could just, like, cut the things you're trying to do and just space them out.
But that's what I'm saying.
Better. He's always doing them too close together.
Like like Chekhov's gun? No.
No.
He's like, Chekhov's gun is like purchased in the beginning of this chapter, and it will be fired by the end of this chapter.
He does do that. I think he also has some ready to go. We got the egg. We got whatever this creature is that's following Richard right now. Yeah. We have certain things that are going to have long term. I'm more get annoyed by it. Like
we get old John. And why he cracked the rock.
Oh, that's such a mystery. It is. We've got the court artist waiting.
Apparently.
For us in the future. But
very cool.
No, I get annoyed when he does it like thematically. He does it's really hardcore with the themes. Granted, but he also has themes that
arcing.
I don't know. I just think a lot of this, I find it very ineffective when it's this close together. And I think it has a simple solution. Just stagger
space it out
a little bit.
Put it anywhere else.
Yeah, but yeah, the money thing is definitely like one of those. Richard's like, okay, well, if I can't use my money, how am I paying for a horse? And then she's like, did you forget?
I hated this.
Did you forget? I'm the mother confessor. I have but just to ask. Why'd you hate this?
Have you forgotten so soon? Is that the quote? Yeah. Have you forgotten so soon?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this was a soul-crushing revelation that happened just last night. And she was like, it would have been easier to kill myself than to tell you. And then at the first, I don't know, lack of understanding on his part of how she can use her political sway, she's like, bitch, you know how sassy and good and strong and powerful I am? I just told you. And it's like, why is she so confident with him?
Because I think he set this tone up at the end of the last chapter doing his little yuck yuck. Oh, well, you got one thing wrong. I'm in charge of Mother Confessor. She was like, oh, if that's the tone we're taking, we are going to keep it light and silly. I think she's just going with it.
You know? I don't hate that.
Yeah, like, because Richard set the precedent, even though he's, like, crying in the club over it.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, you know what's going to help is me making jokes, being silly.
And she's like, I'm joking back.
I guess I'm joking back. That's my that's my defense.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I
like
don't
that?
hate that.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I don't hate that.
So they go.
Damn, that's pretty good.
Okay. So they go into Horner's Mill, the town, to go look for the horses. They're passing.
At least it's a name.
It's a name.
At least it's a name.
Yeah.
Horner. Who was he? Who was he? Interesting. It's not Mud People.
Forest Town.
Yeah, just like
lumber
mill. Oh, we got lumber mill. You never believe what they do there. They're chopping trees.
So They're passing by. It's very like run down, ramshackle houses. They come into town and they immediately know something is wrong. It's very quiet.
Yeah.
It's abandoned. There's no milling and lumbering happening.
The grist is not gristing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it smells like dead bodies. So.
What do you think it is?
You know, I think it is what it is. Okay. I thought a lot of the description of all the dead bodies around the town was extremely grotesque.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah, I wasn't upset about it. I don't know. I felt conflicted because I was like, it's so grotesque, and I don't really care about these people.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It just felt a little maybe gratuitous.
Oh, it definitely is.
Because I don't know that it had to, like, I was like, did it need this much? I don't know.
Terry's much better scene painter than he is a writer.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing.
Yeah.
You don't usually meet... There's so many people who write boring scenes, but you're like, the book was good. Mm-hmm. But, like, he's the opposite.
It's true.
He's, like, great at alliterative, descriptive language.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to, like, motivations and things like that, you're like, all right.
Well, we think that. Some people do not, but we think
That's
that.
fair. Yeah, you're right.
So, but yeah, I thought that some of the writing in here was nice. So, like, all the windows and doors are smashed, you know, on the buildings. There's tons of bodies piled up along the walls, quote, like autumn leaves blown into piles. I thought that was really...
Yeah. Yeah.
Evocative imagery, right?
Yep.
I was like, oh, I can picture that. It's very specific.
Yes, it is.
Right? I really pictured that. And then it said the silence seemed alive. I thought that was a nice...
I like that too.
Yeah, that was
I
like
that
a nice little phrase. He has certain things like that. Terry, surprisingly, has these moments.
He bangs them off. Yeah, it's
he
weird.
Also, equally, though, has so many moments where I go, like, that was truly awful.
Yeah.
He is fascinating to me.
He's a truly...
He's fascinating.
It's remarkable how he does both so easily.
Richard asked Kahlan if she thinks that Dark and Rawl did this. Kahlan says no, because it's not like what it looks like when Dark and Rawl kills.
This was weird.
Wasn't quite under... She was like, remember what the mud people look like? I guess because they were just, like, not as, like, fucked up or something.
No, I think the implication is they're more fucked up.
Dark and Raw?
Yeah, but also Dark and Raw killed them with or on a dragon. So I
was confused. I was like, what is the distinction? I'm not sure.
Show me the ones he killed, so I will never forget why I'm going to kill the one who did it.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Terrible disarray besides a wall where the torn and ripped bodies of children, the burned bodies of men and dead women, some without arms or jaws. Dark and Raw's like blowing their faces apart and shit. Like he's shotgun magicking children in the face.
It seemed like there was like some sort of distinction based on how grotesque or gruesome it was, but the descriptions felt equally so to me. So, yeah. I don't know. Like horror movie style. They see something scrawled on the wall of a building.
The writing's on the wall, man.
Do you want to say? Tell the people what it said.
Death to all who resist the Westlands.
Whoa.
What? But wait a minute. Richard's from the Westlands. Wait a minute.
Wow.
He's never going to believe this.
Richard says, what do you suppose that means? And Kayla says, I can't even imagine. Really? You can't even imagine what it could mean?
Yeah.
It seems pretty straightforward. Like, what did you be like, oh shit, are the Westlands involved in all this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That's the main thought you might have.
I gotta consult this map again, too, because, like, why are the Westlands all the way past Aganon Reach now? Like, how far are these Westlanders soldiers traveling to... You know what I mean?
Well, assuming you really believe it was Westlander shoulders.
Shoulders.
Westlander soldiers. Do you?
Yeah, I think it is.
I'm
yeah.
not sure. Everybody, did you question it at least?
Oh, of course.
They see there's a cart that's like freshly loaded up with stuff in front of a grain store.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, okay, somebody's alive. Let's go talk to them. So they go inside the grain store. There's a bunch of children, 2 women, and an old man. And they all like fall down and hide behind the counter when they come in.
Yep.
So I don't know. One of them says, "Are you a soldier with the People's Peace Army here to help us?" Right? So like clearly you're like, okay, well, they were aligned with Dahara. They seem to think that the People's Peace Army's still on their side, still coming to help them potentially. Okay, it's a little context clues. So they are. So I thought that bird was you laughing.
No.
Okay. Stop.
That wasn't me either.
Stop. Okay. So they're scared. They're immediately scared of Richard, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, a man. But then they see Kahlan, they see her long hair, and then they bow down because they know either who she is or that she's important. And one of the women introduces herself as Regina Clark. I just some of these.
Why do we get that whole ass name?
The names are so random. Like sometimes they're like so fantasy-esque that Regina Clark. It's like a randomized sim name. So Kahlan tells them to stand up, and she's very nice to them, and she asks them what happened in the town. And they're like kind of hesitant to speak. So Kahlan tells Richard to take the children and the old man outside so she can speak to the women about what went down. They go outside with Richard, and everybody's like, all the children are like way too afraid to speak with him. They're staying very far away from him. He's trying to talk to the old man, who is just like staring blankly ahead and also not really engaging.
Yeah.
And
he's got that soldier stare.
Yeah, and so Richard's like, oh, what happened here? And he just says, Westlanders.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, oh, yeah, I'm getting the picture here. For some reason, Richard and Kahlan are acting really confused by what could have
I don't get it.
Been going on. Especially Kahlan. Like, maybe Richard could be silly like this. But Kahlan's
Richard would be being silly like this because he just refuses to believe it. He'd still understand what they think is happening, you know?
Yeah.
It's
or
literally
like your initial, even if you were like obviously confused, you'd be like, how could that be? Like, how are they getting over here? How did I not know we were
Why are they getting over here?
Engaging in this? Very bizarre, right? Those would be your thoughts. Not just like, what? It's the
what?
I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I'm gonna have to make that.
Yeah.
So Richard keeps promising, like, I won't hurt you guys, but nobody's listening to him. And then he starts feeling really awkward, and he's like, this is...
No one will eat his jerky.
Yeah,
exactly. He offers jerky to every man, woman, and child around. Nobody wants it.
Yeah, so he's sort of, like, awkwardly, like, kicking his feet, standing there, like, what do I do?
Then he goes back in.
No, Kahlan...
Yeah. Oh, she comes out.
Yeah, so then Kahlan comes out, and... Kahlan comes out with her face an intense mask of calmness, a spring wound too tight. Also kind of a nice description. I was like, I can picture it. She's clearly stressed about what she learned, but like pretend, in her mother confessor role, pretending that she's okay. So then they walk off, Kahlan and Richard, and she's like, there's no horses. We got to stay off the roads, right? And then oh my God, Kahlan's recounting of this is so over the top. So he obviously asks what happened because, of course, I did write it all down.
I don't know if you had to, but let's have it.
It's the wording of it is so specific and dramatic.
Yeah. Give it to us. Let's have it.
Okay, missionaries came telling the people of the glory of Darken Ral. They came often, telling the town council of the things they would have when Dahara rules all the lands, telling everyone of Ral's love for the people. Richard's response is, That's crazy! Wait, what?
I don't know.
Why is that crazy? What part did he mean was crazy?
Because they believe that.
Why wouldn't they believe that?
Because he's a bad man. What don't you get about Richard?
What doesn't Richard get about, like, they don't think that, though? He's basing it off of, he's like being like, it would be crazy if I thought that because I know Darken Ral's bad. It's like, okay, but they don't.
He thinks it's crazy that they don't know that.
Why? Why does he think that?
Our boy is pretty literal.
Okay, your knowledge does not extend to other people.
It's his belief that the truth is universal.
Not if you're being lied to.
He thinks, can't everyone just see through it? Like I can?
But he doesn't see through shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
This man disemboweled his dad as his first introduction to him, so...
I don't know, that's crazy.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay, so...
Yep.
Nonetheless, the people of Horner's Mill were won over. They all agreed to declare the town a territory of Dahara. The People's Peace Army marched in, treating everyone with the utmost respect.
Why do they talk like... Why is she talking to Richard like this? Why is she not like, all right, listen, this is what happened.
Like I'm pretty sure that they were, like,
Raw
bought
came in
in.
here and, like... Like they,
Is this a Mother Confessor thing or
something? No, this
something?
is a strict retelling of what happened inside the hut that we didn't get to hear because Richard was not inside. So you made Richard stand outside, act awkward in front of people.
This is how the ladies worded this story in their traumatized state?
Probably.
No.
If we were in there, that's how he might have written it.
Okay, but so I'm taking issue all down the line of like, who would tell it like this?
I don't know. Who would retell it like this if it was different?
I don't know.
Why is she not like, all right, so this whole town was crazy. They convinced them left, right, and
She's
center.
not a casual gal. She's the Mother Confessor.
Until she's whole cheek grabbing ass in the bar.
Well, she can tone switch, so...
Switch now. So you're among your friend.
The People's Peace Army marched in, treating everyone with the utmost respect, buying goods from the merchants, spending silver and gold with abandon. The missionaries were good as their word. Orders came down for lumber, a lot of lumber.
Oh my god!
To build new towns.
This is what this town's all about. That makes sense.
I know.
Holy shit!
To build new towns where people would live in prosperity under the glowing rule of Father Rawl. Then what? So Richard asks. But
so, is there any chance she's being like horrifically sarcastic?
That would be an interesting.
I don't think
tone.
so, but it would be.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess it's like Kahlan clearly does have a way she speaks that is quite casual and does not sound like this, and she speaks to Richard frequently in that manner. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what's weird about it. Is you're like, since when is but I guess I'm like, she's in her mother, she came out being like calm-faced Mother Confessor. I think she's like in Mother Confessor brain. Maybe that's how she always talks as the Mother Confessor.
That sounds miserable, but
okay,
you gotta keep that pussy power, and this is a good way to do it.
He said, then what? Word spread. There was more work here than the town people could handle. Work for Father Rawl. More people came in to work the orders for lumber. While all of this was going on, the missionaries told the people of the threat of them from Westland. The threat to Father Rawl from Westland. He said, from Westland? Then the People's Army moved out, saying they were needed to fight the Westland forces to protect the other towns that had sworn allegiance to Dahara. The people begged for some to stay. In return for their loyalty and devotion, a small detachment was left behind. So this wasn't Rawl's army? No. A military unit. Why are you just watching me do this? No. A military unit of the Westland army swept in, killed the Daharan army and everyone else. They yelled, this is what happens to anyone who follows Rawl and resists the Westlands.
They yelled that? The army yell?
Stop. Okay.
It's giving, I won, this is my trophies from Army. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? The Army yell, this is what you get when you mess with us. and then they stab them all.
That's why I think it's fake. Okay, here we go.
You think what's fake?
I don't think this is actually people from the Westlands. I think it's Dark and Rawl faking an enemy so they want to devote themselves to him for protection. Correct. But I don't think that... I think Dark and Rawl set it up.
He definitely did, but it still might be the Westlanders.
It might be.
Because of Michael.
Right, I thought that. Okay. Obviously I thought
in his
about
speech,
this.
wasn't he like, we're going to fight the Daharans? We're like, they're not going to come into our lands. We're not going to do it. He's like rabble-rousing at that point. By this point, maybe he has made armies that go and sack these towns for Dark and Rawl strategically to create more outrage. What I don't get, right? So like, all right, bad, but like a politic, right?
Yeah.
It's a political idea.
Yeah.
Fine. I think it's stupid, but it's an idea.
Okay.
And if you don't have a magic box that gives you control over all life, it's a good idea to start making political moves like that.
Why even bother?
Dark and Raw either wins or dies.
Yeah.
In about 2 weeks. Why are you playing games?
You're right.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Maybe he had
open the
kind
box,
of put these things into motion
like months ago, and it's just like,
let it play out. Why not? Okay, but so here's parallel number 1, right?
Yeah.
We're very clearly, I think, we are very clearly doing Richard just said, oh my God, the Midlands is the worst place in the whole entire world. I can't wait to go back to Westland where everybody's good and beautiful. And then Richard immediately
has to confront
the idea that, oh my God, wait, are you telling me that the place that I'm from also does bad things?
There's no Eden to return to.
Oh my goodness.
Once you leave the garden.
Of childhood.
Correct.
Because Westlands clearly wasn't actually an Eden if Michael is there.
Yeah, that bitch.
I'm so serious.
Why? Chase is there too, though. You can tell me that's not heaven? That's not paradise? Mr. Brandstone?
Okay, well, Shota's over here, so...
Oh, my God.
The sexy just comes
everywhere. You're right. In hell, the big booby witch? Temptress.
Yeah, I guess Chase probably is more moral than Shota. Girlie never had a shot. It's her nature.
You're right.
As a
she bewitches
witch.
In an aura.
It's not her fault.
It's not her fault. No.
I guess I have to defend her now.
Mm-hmm.
To the death.
Do you think Zed enjoys banging Shota more or Addie more?
Why are we
Gotta make you wonder, you know?
Why are you saying Zed had sex with Shota?
He showed up and took that sword. You don't think a little spice soup was had?
No, I don't.
In the Reach? It's called the Reach.
You keep wanting her to have sex with these, like, wrinkled little men, okay?
Do not compare Zed to Samuel, okay?
I'm just saying.
Samuel is a literal goblin man. Please take us to the next section so I can stop talking about Samuel.
Okay. But yeah, so I just wanted to, here's our first parallel. Okay, right, we're like, Richard, you fool, you thought the Midlands were bad, but you're
bad.
Hometown's bad too. Okay.
No way. No way.
Then Kahlan says, I'll take you away from Samuel. We're not going anywhere good. That is not the end of it.
Man.
Richard says,
oh no.
Richard doesn't want to hear it. We all know where it's going. It's almost like it loses a lot of its impact when you just keep going, like, and then something worse happened, and it's always the same thing. People were leaving the town and they were what?
Yeah, no, keep going.
People were leaving. Okay, so they had the Westlanders, whoever they were, came, killed everybody, or a lot of people, and they left. So the people who were left at Horner's Mill, they're either leaving town or they're burying their family members. The Westlanders came back and told them they're not allowed to bury the sisters. And then to prove a point, what did the Westlanders do?
I don't know. What did they do? Hopefully nothing terrible to the most vulnerable population.
Okay, kind of not the point of where I'm going yet.
Give it to me.
We're still on the parallels.
Yeah.
Well, the Westlanders decided they needed to kill all the boys.
What?
They said boys need to die. That is very similar to something that happened with a metal pole one chapter ago.
I didn't even think of that. That's so stupid.
There you go. Well, so now Richard said, oh my God, the Midlands, they just keep killing all the boys. And they shouldn't be doing that. And then he came here and they said, the Westlands keep killing all the boys. So anyway, when I was a teenager, I think I really was just like, it felt very like, oh shit.
Whoa.
Oh
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I'm 13 and this is deep a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I've been coming across a lot of people do sort of on like social media and stuff. Everybody has the same fucking story. The like, I loved this
When I was younger.
when I was a teenager. And I'm like, it really do be hitting the teenage brain the right way. We kind of need that hand holding. We like need it to be a little bit more literal and direct. It's just cumbersome as an adult, and it's like lacks a certain amount of finesse. Because I was also capable of reading things that had more nuance at that age as well.
No, of course. You just like less nuance more when you're younger. It's like when babies can only see like black and white or like high contrast. Teenagers can only like appreciate thematic high contrast.
Yeah.
That's why you're like, Sin City's the best movie I ever saw. And then like you're like,
oh my god, it's so like that.
Kind of, right?
Yeah.
And then you watch it now and you're like, that was fun. I like what they did with the colors. You know?
The colors looked cool sometimes.
The colors are cool. So like all black and white and blood red. Wow. But then you're like, you know.
Wow. That was a good example.
Thank you. Thank you.
So then...
Bananas?
Organic bananas.
Bananas? Yeah, you got it.
So then naturally we roll right into... They also were raping everybody, including the children. Oh my god. Each one of those little girls you saw back there was raped by at least, and then like gets cut off. I'm like, I don't. Okay.
We don't. You could just say the first part, and like you could say it a lot.
It feels like something
and like we do it a lot.
Something about this wording. It's almost giving like Kahlan being like gleeful. I know Kahlan is the character never would be. I know that's literally not how I was supposed to take it, but something about that feels really weird.
I agree.
I don't think you talk about it like that.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that.
So anyway, it makes me uncomfortable, and it's so frustrating because I know lots of people are uncomfortable with like sexual assault content,
child
in
abuse,
things,
anything, yeah.
Right? Like like there's like the general sense of like literally most people, yes, and then there's like tons of people who are like really quite sensitive to that sort of content, and I'm not. I find myself actually being quite on the other side of weirdness, where like it takes a lot to
jar you,
to make me I can read really intense content, feel the feelings, but like also be okay and like still kind of be able to like engage with the text and get something out of it and whatever.
Yeah.
And this just bothers me because it's too flippant
with the thing that is so
I don't know. I'm like, because I feel like I'm saying that, and then most people are going to be like, yeah, agree, because, right, we hate when that gets brought up. And I'm like, but like, no, I'm trying to say something else, because I don't...
It's not the topic itself.
Yeah.
It's the presentation in this way. And he does it a lot.
It feels cheap. It feels like you are just trying to get me to go, like... like, I don't want to feel that way. I want to feel like we are being like hyper realistic. We are trying to really drive home some sort of like point, either like artistically or emotionally. There's a list of things you could be doing that will work okay for those of us who can handle reading about the topic, but like this is not it.
No.
Introducing like a gaggle of little children from a town we know nothing about, and then having it presented as each one of those girls back there was raped by at least like multiple men, and it not telling me. And here's the thing, it's like you could have a character say something similar to that, and it would be like getting across something about that character, right? Like you'd be
Sure.
like, oh wow, that person's being so flippant about this. That kind of tells me how they feel about the thing, or like they could be making a joke about it or whatever. It's not telling me anything. It doesn't really make sense for Kahlan to have this tone about it.
No, it doesn't. And
what did I learn about her from her saying that? Nothing. You just wanted me to go.
oh no.
Oh no. And Richard screams, Westlanders did not do this.
Wow.
She says, I know, but who?
Read the wall, bro.
Why? I'm like, oh, I mean, it seems obvious who might also have done this, right?
No, that's not how Rawl kills. He can't tell people how to kill differently than how he kills.
It's like the very, it's almost too obvious to be like, oh, well, maybe Dark and Rawl just did this.
At this point, it would be fucking
Like-
interesting for it to have actually been Westlanders, but it's
Yeah.
it's not going to ultimately be that.
Right.
There's only one source of evil in this world, and it is
I mean, clearly
Queen
that's
Melina.
not Terry's MO, but,
no,
you know.
no.
So then, I don't know, Richard's like, can we help them? And then she's like, oh, the only way to help them is to keep going to Tamarang and get the box and save the world.
Yep,
She's probably right.
yep. She is right.
Richard is hating life right now. And
I don't even think they get horses.
no, they don't, because they
Damn.
can't get horse because they have to stay off the roads.
Yep.
So, but then you're supposed to be like, because they're going to meet up with Rachel by staying off the road. So we're supposed to be like, oh, divine
Yeah.
fate is like, you
Wow.
never know. It's like the universe is actually like saving you from yourself when it won't give you horses, you know?
Yeah, sure. That is the lesson to take
It
away.
is.
Yeah.
And then Richard thinks about how, man, back in Heartland, the worst thing that used to happen to me was my brother used to tell me what to do. Do we think maybe Michael had something to do with this?
We evoked Michael for the first time
In forever.
in forever. So Terry logic, it 100% was Michael.
God, it's just, some of it's just so like, okay, thanks for the heads up.
Yep.
I would have liked to have just maybe
Any
waited.
mystery, just let me not know.
But again, yeah, 17-year-old me, I don't think I picked it up.
Definitely didn't pick it up.
I didn't pick
I had
it
no
up.
idea.
Bro, I didn't pick it up. So,
Could have been anyone. Maybe it was the
So-
Westlanders. You didn't know them all.
oh my God.
Could have been anyone. Maybe Chase did it.
Yeah, like, what the fuck were me and you talking about in high, like, what were we saying? Like, because I was reading it, like, we were talking about it. What the fuck were we?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Wasn't it sick when she confessed to X?
Probably.
Whoa, that sword cut him in half. Like, yeah, what else?
So Kahlan's like, we're gonna have to start sleeping in Wayward Pines at night to hide from these armies.
Even that. We know they sleep in Wayward Pines. If they're
I know.
staying off the road, they're probably going to do it. And we know Rachel's in Wayward Pines.
Okay. It's like, I want to let some of these little things go, because without the big things, that would never stick out as, like, problematic to me.
I know, but now there's so many of these things happening at once. It's like, God.
So Kahlan's like, my people have joined with Rawl. Some of my people have joined with Rawl and done unspeakable crimes. Do you think less of me? And then Richard's like, no. And then she's like, good. I won't think less of you. If it was the Westlanders who did this, she says, we can only count on each other. But a time may come when it is only you. We all do as we must. It was not Kahlan who had spoken. It was the mother confessor.
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Did you feel inspired?
Nope.
Okay. And then Richard, after the chapter ends, his response is just, it's not Westlanders. But that's like honestly really
That's on brand for him. Yeah,
really in
100%.
character. So I can't
It's not
complain.
them. What? Not them. It's not them. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, bud. But see, like the same way we were being like, what? You know what? I guess that is, wait, that
She's like, some of my people did bad things. You don't judge me. I won't judge you. You don't have to worry about that because it wasn't them. You crazy
Don't
man.
even worry. Don't even worry.
Actually, you could. No, I'm going to judge you now. And
Don't judge me.
I didn't do nothing, so we pivot.
Different POV. We're with Rachel. She's in her Wayward Pine lighting a fire. Sarah, confirmed, has not spoken since the night she ran away from the
death
castle.
of Giller.
Rest in peace, Giller. We'll miss you.
R.I.P.G.
I feel sad for her that her little doll's not talking anymore.
She seems totally fine with it.
She seems okay. She pretends she's talking. That's good.
Yeah.
She's running out of food. She's eating some cheese and berries.
She ain't touching that bread, though.
Of course not. No. So she keeps going to New Wayward Pines every night. Sun at her back in the morning and sun in her face in the evening. Brophy taught her that. He called it traveling by the sun.
No way.
Well,
Brophy's almost as good as Terry at naming things.
that's what he called it. Okay, so more Brophy lore drops.
Yeah.
He knows how to...
When I go, I walk on the road between towns. I call it road walking.
See, he's a Chekhov's gun right there, Brophy.
What? How?
I don't know. We just don't... He's a man. He's waiting to drop the Brophy info for us.
Yeah, I can't wait. He's supposed to be dead. He's going to be the court artist. No, I don't know.
I can't imagine where it's going. So, she's in the tree. Richard sticks his head into the Wayward Pine.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, we know him.
What do we have
it's
here?
It's a Cheers moment.
He says. Yeah. Richard and Kahlan come in. Rachel's like scared and whining.
Yeah.
Because adults are barging
invading
into
her space.
And she knows she's like trying to save the world over here. So, Rachel notices Kahlan has long hair. It's over now. She is like, I don't like the only exposure, right? It's very obvious what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But yeah, her only exposure to women with long hair who are powerful is the queen and the princess, and they're not good. So she just assumes all women with long hair, not for me. So she's like, she kind of wants to run away when she sees Kahlan. Kahlan touches her and she jumps and she says, please don't burn Sarah. The doll. Kahlan's like, of course I won't, and she's being really nice to her, and Rachel just keeps... The whole scene is kind of like Rachel justifying everything through the lens of, I'm assuming Kahlan's bad, therefore every single thing she does, I'll be able...
it incorrectly.
I'll be able to rationalize it.
Malice into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when Kahlan's being nice to her, she's like, well, they sometimes were nice to me too, but it was always fake to
fake.
like do something or get something.
And to be fair, Giller did just tell her Dark and Rawl does this. Like,
true.
People will show you what they want and they'll lie to you.
Right. So here we have another parallel.
Yep.
This entire scene, do you know what it is?
Give me it.
Okay, well, this whole scene was clearly... We were at the town and all of the children were afraid of Richard because they had this really bad experience with men recently. And they all assumed no matter what Richard did that he was a bad man and blah, blah, blah. And now we're doing the reverse. So we came here. Now all of a sudden Richard's the one that she loves and Kahlan's the bad guy because she has bad experiences with women. So we're just doing like egalitarian... badness message. Number one, we're doing how past experiences and like trauma like really colors how you view people approaching you who actually are genuinely trying to help, right?
Yep.
And it's interesting because we did Kahlan the woman being from the bad place Midlands into Richard the man being from the bad place Westlands. Then we also did Richard. Then this chapter parallel started with Richard being bad man Westlands into Kahlan being bad woman Midlands when we did the child. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We did like historical location, bad Kahlan, bad Richard, and then we did like gendered
fear from the perspective of children.
Richard Kahlan. Yeah, so anyway, that's why I said this was the chapter parallels.
That's interesting, yeah.
Richard comes in and tells Rachel that she has the ugliest hair he's ever seen. Kahlan is kind of scandalized by this, and Rachel thinks it's funny and giggles, and he said, who cut it all crooked like that? Some old witch? Oh, he's being funny with the children.
He is being funny.
That could have backfired really badly.
Wouldn't Rachel be like, I know it's ugly, Like,
You'd
I'm so
think.
sad about it being
You'd
ugly.
think.
Because she literally did it to me to make it ugly and then made fun of me for being ugly all the time.
You'd think. I would think that would.
But kids do kind of.
I know.
They kind of like the truth.
They
and
like a little roast.
Kids like a little roast sometimes.
Sometimes
they do. You're
right?
Yeah.
I kind of think that the implication is just like Rachel is just getting like good vibes from Richard immediately.
Yeah, he's just a good dude.
She's loving him.
I think she would get good vibes from Kahlan had this not been the case.
Right, of
the
course.
The hair and everything else.
Yeah, totally. So Richard offers to cut her hair straight for her. She's excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
Then they basically just I really don't have that many notes. I don't have too much to say about this. They offer to feed Rachel fish that they caught. She's still scared of Kahlan. She really likes Richard, so she agrees. They ask where her parents are. She says dead. Kahlan is very sad about it, which you're like, that's sad because Kahlan relates. Her
parents are dead. Yeah.
Know.
Yep.
Richard cuts her hair. He gives her a little lock of it and tells her to keep it to give to a boy she likes and whatever. That's very cute.
Yeah.
It is. Richard is being very cute with her this chapter. You get why she likes him.
You know what? This is actually interesting because this is kind of emotionally complex in a way that we haven't gotten much of.
Mm-hmm.
Because since we have spent some time with Rachel,
yeah,
we know what she's been through, and now we know what Kahlan's been through.
Yeah.
And it's like Kahlan losing her family is like really heavy, and you see it on her. And then for her to like be like, and this little girl too,
yeah,
and connect with her in this way, and then knowing that like Rachel like is scared of and kind of hates her, is like very uncomfortable in one direction, and that's kind of
I didn't think this part was bad
at
all. That is an interesting dynamic. You like are weirdly find yourself feeling bad for Kahlan a lot during the chapter, because you're like, you see how sweet she's being and you know it's real.
And you know it's sweet. Like, it's sweet for her to be like
exactly.
This
and then
vulnerable.
Watching Rachel just, like, read malintended to every single thing
it's kind of almost funny.
You're like, oh my god. Yikes.
Yeah.
So, but you're like, oh, but yeah, you see Richard is good with kids, which I guess we haven't, I don't know. He hasn't been bad with kids, but this is the first time he's been really dad mode, I feel.
He was a little with no, Chase's kids. He was pretty.
He gave him the cat.
Yeah. He's pretty fun there.
Yeah, I guess
and then with the Mud kids a little bit. He was more bro.
He was like stressed.
Yeah.
At that point. Then they're eating the fish. Kahlan's like, hey, let's eat a little bit of that bread over there.
Worst thing she could have said.
Rachel's like, no, and pulls it away. This all felt very like sitcoms where like everyone's like miscommunicating in this weird way. They're like, what's wrong? Why can't we have the bread? And then she's like, it's from my grandmother from Horner's Mill. And then everybody, like Richard and Kahlan, are like, ugh, her grandma's dead, you know? Like, it's funny.
It is funny. It definitely. It had that interwoven, like, everyone's missing.
Yeah.
Joke thing, yeah.
They tell her, like, they promise they won't eat the bread, and Rachel's still like, you know what, like, that makes her be like, I really should run away, because, like, that was really close, that woman grabbing my bread, and, like, my one goal is to keep this away from other adults, basically, like, I can't have anyone.
That's all she needs,
So she's like, I gotta get out of here. So...
And some adults just showed up in my fucking tree, tried to eat my bread immediately.
So... Richard's like being funny, he puts Sarah the doll in his lap and he's like fake feeding her fish, and then he's like, oh, Sarah's gonna eat it all, you have to come get it. So Rachel goes in his lap and cuddles up with him, and she keeps thinking about how he like reminds her of Giller, which is really sad.
That is sad.
And you are like, it all makes sense, I think, and is decent writing to be like, yeah, like, given her life experience at this point, she'd be very fond of men and extremely afraid of women, right?
Yeah.
Like, valid.
100%.
Yeah. And yeah, Giller was really soft and nice with her.
And she had Brophy. So
so true.
Richard is Brophy. Just saying.
Who is Brophy? They're like, Rachel, you can't go to Horner's Mill. It's not safe there. Fair. But then they're like, it's not safe anywhere. You have to come with us. But I was like, is it safe with you?
It's not safe with them.
I don't think so.
But I guess they're like...
Oh, they want to bring... Never mind. They do say they want to bring her to the Queen.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they're close to the Queen at this point, and they're trying to drop her off there. What does Kahlan know about Queen Milena, though? Was Queen Milena good at some point? Does she just never...
That's a good
Does she just not know that she's bad?
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
Why not?
And I think it's the thing where, like, now that the confessors are gone, these people are acting out. And, like,
right, but, like, I'm like, was she convincingly good before
I think she was
this?
convincingly fine, and a girl alone in the woods with no family now because Horner's Mill just got raided is going to do better in...
Right, fair. Okay.
The castle
Yeah, at
somewhere.
first I was like...
Yeah.
Don't bring her to Dark and Raw.
No,
you
no,
guys.
no.
Like, leave her in the
We're
tree.
going to people's palace where you'll be safe.
But yeah, fine. Okay, they want to bring her to the queen. So then they tell her that they're like, yeah, we'll come with us. We're going to Tamarang. We're gonna bring you to the queen. Wrong thing to say.
Oh God.
So then Richard's like, are you sure? Like, we should go there to the queen and talk to her. And Kahlan goes, oh, we'll see her before I skin Giller alive. And of course, like, again, Rachel's like, what?
Why would you skin Giller?
I knew she was bad. She wants to kill my grandpappy. What the fuck?
It's comical.
Yeah, whatever. It's silly. And then it's nighttime now. Like I said, Richard picks Rachel up and hands her to Kahlan. Kahlan's hugging her. Richard's going to take watch, and Rachel starts crying because she's scared to be with Kahlan. And then Richard misunderstands and, like, gives her the doll. And that wasn't what she wanted, but she was like, okay. Kahlan's being very sweet to her. She's, like, rocking her. She's, like, petting her hair.
Yep.
And then Kahlan starts crying as well. So now Rachel and Kahlan are crying together.
For different reasons. Yeah.
Because Rachel's scared of her, and Kahlan, because she's like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed with emotions, and this little poor, sweet child is crying.
She's crying, so I'll cry.
They, like, cuddle up, and she tells her a story about a fisherman who turned into a fish. I was like, I wonder if that has meaning. And I was like, I don't think so. They just ate fish.
Kahlan's talked about it before.
She has?
Yeah, it came up.
About the fisherman turning into a fish?
Yeah, it was a story that, I don't know if she told it to her sister when she was dying or something. That story came up once before.
What is the meaning behind this?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but...
I wonder.
I don't know.
I feel like little, like, dream sequences and, like, little stories like that usually have some sort of, like, thematic something to them.
Fisherman turned into a fish.
What do we think it means?
Okay, so I'm thinking it's got Ouroboros energy.
Oh, yeah.
Snake eating its own tail, fisherman becoming a fish. It's a circle.
Right.
All the parallels are kind of circles.
Okay. I like that.
Returning to Queen Milena would be a circle.
Oh, I like that. Oh. This is good. This is good.
What else is a circle? I don't know. There's other circles. The boxes of Orden are a square. Yeah. But there's 3 of them, which is a triangle. I'm just doing shapes, boys. I'm doing shapes.
Okay.
We almost had something.
She tells her the little story, and they're laughing together. Like, Rachel's kind of, like, forgetting she's scared of Kahlan. Kahlan kisses her head and strokes her forehead. And Rachel decides to pretend that Kahlan is not mean. And because it all feels so nice and good. And she's like, well, maybe I have to do it anyway. So maybe it's okay if I just pretend she isn't a mean person. And it is very sweet. This part of the chapter, I kind of liked.
I liked it.
So there's something about them together despite the mistrust. And how it's kind of showing, like, despite all of her hard etched prejudices that make sense, she, like, still really wants to like Kahlan at her core. Yeah. She wants to enjoy
and maybe that's saying something about women or abuse victims.
Yeah.
Because I do think he keeps abusing children, so maybe getting at the theme of how much they crave an adult they can trust.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. Yeah. As she falls asleep, she has wonderful dreams. That's nice.
My hair's doing crazy. Look at this. What is that?
I'm sure T-Bell will like it, so...
T-Bell's not going to like
He is,
this.
Though.
Yeah, alright, well, he
is going to like it.
Cool. But would Sven, or whatever the fuck you named him, Julian, would Julian like it?
Julian
No, he'd be like, my barber, come fix his hair.
No, Julian likes you because you're, like, an average Joe. Like, you're a working class man.
And that's why he likes me. So, like, being sloppy and all that's kind of like...
He thinks it's charming.
Julian's all about that.
He thinks it's charming.
Okay. All right.
Guys, we ship Julian and Frank in the comments below.
Thank you. Hashtag gay embassy. I don't know. Hashtag oil bros. Hashtag gay embassy. Hashtag Sweden USA connection. Hashtag. All right, I'm done.
Okay. So.
Just waiting for me to finish. I ran out of gas. Let's go.
Rachel wakes up when Richard comes back in to switch places with Kahlan for watch, and then it's very nice. He asks Kahlan, like, do you want to, like, because they look so cute cuddled together, like, do you want to stay with her? I'll keep watch the rest of the night.
Yeah.
I think that's very loving.
It is.
That's like real. I like make jokes saying soulmate shit about them, but that's like actual soulmate shit.
That is soulmate shit.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And she says no, she'll go outside. So then Richard sits down next to Rachel, and I think he like accidentally falls asleep. And then Rachel, it says she sneaks out from under the blanket. So you're like kind of left up in the air of like, did she leave for good? Did she what? I think
she's gonna try.
I think she's leaving.
Yeah,
and that's where we ended the chapter.
I'm excited to read more.
Our shout out of the day.
Give it to me.
Diana of Instagram and YouTube fame.
Princess of Wales.
Oh.
Look at that.
Actually, Russian princess. So, Diana, we've been chit-chatting a little bit in the Instagram DMs.
Duh.
We were excited about New Zealand. Now we could get excited about Russia.
Hell yeah.
We are world traveling
this is weird. Okay,
podcasters
this is kind of
here.
crazy. Yeah, we're showing up all over the globe.
She wrote a really nice message, actually back in April, was when she first DM'd me. She's also a fellow teenager reader.
Look at that.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club.
And
there's literally
she
dozens of us.
Watched Legends of the Seeker first.
Oh.
Then read the books.
Okay.
Thinking that they were going to be a little bit lighter than they were, but
yep.
Here we are.
Well.
And
the CW vibe will do that to you.
she said that she is improving her English by listening to us.
What?
Diana.
No way.
That's very exciting.
That's extremely exciting.
That's very cool. I don't know.
We are not official tutors.
I know. Well, also, I was like, I feel like we speak so casually or like stupidly that.
But maybe that's what's helping.
Maybe that's,
you know?
yeah, you're right.
She's looking for the colloquialism. You know?
Yes, it's like not proper.
Americans
over here.
don't say come as much as we do, though.
That's
Keep
true,
that in mind.
Diana. Don't say come too
We
much.
be nutting far more than the general population.
Yeah, that's true. You
Yeah.
could say that. And then she messaged me after the last episode asking why confessors only release their power when they're intimate with somebody, and why don't they confess somebody while they're asleep, like while they're having a nightmare. And I was like trying to remember, is that what they
That's
said?
a plot point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the explanation, which I found not good, was that it's because they slept before they developed their powers.
I think so,
That
yeah.
doesn't actually make sense. If you... See, now I have to ask fucked up questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now I have to ask fucked up questions I don't want to ask.
Like what? If you had like a wet dream or something?
No! That's not...
What are fucked up questions?
Say you had sex pre-pubescent before your powers developed.
It would probably awaken the powers. I don't know.
But I'm saying, like, what is the logic? Just like, if you do the thing before the powers develop, now you can just keep doing it without releasing
do the powers develop? Are we sure about that? Or are they there from birth?
Well, then what was the explanation about the sleeping?
The explanation with the sleeping was they had been sleeping forever.
I thought it was they had slept pre-power development.
I guess, yeah. Why wouldn't it just be like there's a magic of sleep that like keeps it from going off?
Bring the Sandman into this.
Honestly, always. Yeah.
So, Diana, your original message was really nice. I hope that we are helping language-wise. I like that you reach out with random questions. That one made me laugh. And then you also commented on YouTube. You popped up. So, like, you're an active gal right now.
Hell yeah. I'm specifically going to up my vocab just to, like, quiz you. Like, I'm just
Okay,
I'm going to, like, put you through the ringer, all right? Phantasmagorical,
Next time you
expedalidocious.
next episode you watch, we're just going to be using the most, like, esoteric language you've ever heard.
Good one.
You commented on YouTube talking about how we're later discovering that Richard discovers how Gars are just so much more than we all thought that they were.
See? Yeah.
With a heart. And that's how I feel about Crotch as well.
Grotch lug Richard. We love Grotch.
We love
Grotch.
We love Grotch.
We love Grotch.
But Diana, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sending nice
big kisses,
comments, DMs. I want to hear whatever thoughts you got on YouTube or Instagram.
All of them.
I don't care. And I also hope that you're pumped for us to watch Legend of the Seeker.
I can't
at
wait.
some point soon.
I'm so hype.
Yeah, we keep talking about how excited
Oh
we are.
man, they got the smallest little twink for Richard. I don't know what's going on,
Gracious.
but I want to see him cut someone in half because that shit's cool.
I don't know if he could pull it off, but I guess he must.
Is the show improved by getting Liv Tyler for Kahlan?
That's not how I picture Kaylin.
No, not at all.
Not really.
She seems like good casting. I don't know.
She does seem like
she
good
looks like
casting.
spot on.
I keep seeing a bunch of people saying, like, on Reddit and in the random Facebook groups I'm in, they're all like, that's not how I pictured Kaylin. I was like, what were you picturing?
What did you picture?
It's pretty good.
Who's a good Richard? If you had to cast now, and why is it Jeremy Renner?
Ew. Ew.
I know you hate him. All right.
No.
Who could do it?
Like, the obvious answer is Henry Cavill.
Fuck
right?
that. No. He's done. We're tired of him.
But
No, that's not what's good about Richard.
I don't really have anybody.
What's like a goofier looking version of Henry Cavill? Like that's what we're looking for.
But he's got to be, like, big.
Big.
There aren't that many big male celebrities. There really aren't.
I'm gonna change that, guys.
Like, make Frank famous in the comments.
Oh yeah.
There really aren't, though.
Don't do that.
Don't you what?
Make me famous in the comments. I don't know what that means.
Let's make Frank a celebrity in the comments.
Frank and Julian getting married. 2025.
Right.
LGBTFJ. Frank and Julian. I don't know. Guys, we gotta sign off, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's over now.
The end of that. All right. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
You know, guys, sometimes these chapters are
What they
just...
are. Pretty good.
You know, can't always be a fucking 3-hour episode like last week.
Nope. No. And it shouldn't be. So...
Hope the next one's...
Yeah, I want a little spice. I want a little fight. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. All right, we'll see you guys later.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.